the primary aspects of data that we typically looked at involved learning outcomes, involved reach, involved measurements and assessments to make sure that our programs were having the desired impact. During this period, because we did not have our people on the ground, it was very different for us to make sure that we get reliable data, we get data that we can actually stand behind. And in this presentation, I'll quickly try to talk about how did we go about doing that. A very quick context of what the situation of the country is right now and was around March when the schools were closed. The urban and higher income families obviously took care of their children and had the opportunities to engage with online and offline content. The TRAI data tells us that the smartphone penetration in India, across India right now, is somewhere around 56%, and this is the December 2019 data. Taking a look at that, I think it is very clear that accessibility is definitely a challenge. Uh, Primarily, the challenge with the government schools, which operate in regional mediums of instruction, was that they did not have enough learning content in regional languages in the medium of instruction for children. Also, other nonprofits that are working in this space, I think they were also caught off guard because Pratham has been investing in creating digital and remote operations since 2015. But I think we, during this period, found out that probably what we are doing has a broader impact as well. So I'll try to cover this. Uh, One of the key things of our COVID response has been the multi-channel approach. So rather than having one initiative that reaches out to a particular demographic, we made sure that we go across channels. So we had our staff members calling children directly that we were in the 12,000 villages that we were working in to ensure that learning continues for them. We also worked with the Delhi government to create the interactive voice response system where parents could give a missed call to a number and get a call back where they listen to an activity that they could do with their children. We worked with various state governments on uploading content on the content portals, including Diksha and others across many states. WhatsApp was the first option that we went with. So around March 16th, we started planning for our WhatsApp intervention. And by the time the schools closed and the national lockdown was set up rolling on March 24th, we were already ready with a WhatsApp based program. In Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, we also have radio programs to ensure that we can reach people who don't have devices. SMS has been the primary innovation that we did in this period to try and fit, as we say, learning in 160 characters. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Television has been another aspect where we have created and curated television programs, which we are giving to various state governments, who are then broadcasting it using various broadcasters, including Doordarshan and so on. So this is an example of the WhatsApp activity that we had. We called this Corona Thodi Masti Thodi Padhai, which essentially translates to let's do some fun and some learning. We realized right at the outset is that when children are not able to go to school, not able to meet their friends, they are asked to stay inside, not go out to play, it will lead to a lot of tension. So that atmosphere is not very conducive to learning. And that's where it's important to have uh, a semblance of fun. And that's where we created this Karuna Thodi Masti Thodi Padhai activity. So these WhatsApp messages had got one learning activity and one fun activity that we sent out, and created a network of two-way communication so that the children can send back what they are doing to us as well, and we can respond to them. So this WhatsApp activity is now actually going to over 600 nonprofits that signed up with us for receiving these activities, and it is reaching far and wide. The other aspect that I want to touch upon is how did we look at the data that we had about the 12,000 villages that we were working in directly. We made sure that we did a mapping exercise to map not just the village, but every child that we were working with. And we mapped that child to either a smartphone or to a regular phone. So we had these applications where our field team could actually fill in the data very easily on their smartphones. So they called someone up in the village, maybe the sarpanch, maybe the panchayat, maybe the volunteers that they already knew, collected the phone numbers of other students that they could reach out to, what type of phone they have, and then accordingly we planned what activity we could do with the children. I'll dive a little bit deeper into this and give a particular example. So this example is of Vesanhari in Uttarakhand. This is the kind of activity done by each and every of our staff member for each and every of the 12,000 villages that we are working in. They drew a map of it, identified how many households are there, how many hamlets are there. In each of the hamlets, what is the kind of reach they have, what is the number of children that they had before the lockdown, and how many of them are they able to reach now. That is what was critical to this exercise, that there should be no child left behind. Everyone that we were able to reach earlier, even during the pandemic, we should have a way of reaching them. I'll cover that in the next few slides. So for Vesnehari itself, we had these 5 hamlets that were identified. We identified how many smartphone and normal phone contacts we had, how many anchor volunteers we had who actually took it onto themselves that if you send us the message, we'll take the message either WhatsApp or SMS to others in the community, and especially to those who do not have any device, we'll go to them physically and show the message to them. We identified volunteers who were conducting what we call the Mohalla activity. And this exercise, what you see here, was done for each and every of the 12,000 villages. The data for it was collected using some of the apps we have made, and a dashboard which was available at our field staff level, at a district level, at a state level, and at a national level, ensured that we are actually making sure that we don't leave any child behind. Everyone that we had before the lockdown, we are able to reach them after the lockdown as well. This is the kind of ongoing reach and response data that we get regularly. So how many children did we send the message to? How many of them were not able to get the messages? How many of the children are involved in Mohalla activities? And how many children are not part of any activities? And this is done not just at a village level, but at a hamlet level to ensure that the reach is there. The field staff who are appointed at 6 to 12 villages each are calling these numbers regularly to make sure they are receiving the messages, what is their feedback, what are they learning from the messages, and so on. So that has been the activity that we call the mapping exercise or staying in touch exercise, to ensure that no child is left behind and we are able to reach each and everyone that we were working with initially. This is the process of dissemination of the SMS messages that we created. SMS or WhatsApp messages are created centrally by the Pratham teams. They are translated into 11 languages. They are sent to the Pratham district leaders, from there to the block leaders, from there to the cluster leaders, and the cluster leaders send it to parents and volunteers, and then it finally reaches the students. There is another direction of this flow where from the students, our cluster leaders give them a call to the parents and volunteers and try to talk to the students. We have conducted some assessments. We are actively trying to understand how is this message leading to learning outcomes. And all of this data is being monitored at a central level and across, as you can see, district and block levels as well, to ensure that the impact of the work that we had is still being driven. So one of the things that I want to highlight here is that we not just worked on trying to reach every child, but we innovated to reach them where they were. Not everyone had smartphone, not everyone had internet access. WhatsApp and digital content would not work for everyone. And that's why we designed content on SMS so that it can reach to even the most basic phones. And it increased our reach drastically, where we were able to reach many more children than we were working with initially, or would have been able to work if we would have just used WhatsApp or internet-enabled devices. So this has been the primary innovation during this period, but I think this is deep-rooted in the ethos of the organization, where it always focuses on data and technology to innovate and reach more and more children. I'll probably try to just show a very quick video of what these SMS messages were, or these learning messages were, and what kind of response we got to those. So after that quick video, just wanted to touch upon how we have been designing this content in 160 characters. We have these content pieces designed for 3 to 6 years, 6 to 10 years, and 10 to 14 years of age. We focus on language, math, English, science, and geography as the subjects. But as I said, Corona, thodi masti, thodi padhai. So there are obviously fun activities that the children can do as well. The most important feature is to ensure that there is learning while doing. There are project-based learning activities. Uh, Parents and community members can participate is the most crucial thing, because at this time, I think more than ever, we all have realized how parents can be teachers as well. And that was one of our intentions, to ensure that the content we create also involved them. We had a two-way communication channel to ensure that it was not just a broadcast of content that they were receiving, but rather some learning engagement as well. And it was designed to ensure the participation of everyone in the community. There's just one more thing that I would like to touch upon in terms of how we use technology during this period. So Pratham works with children with special needs, and under the National Institute of Open Schooling, we conduct the classes and exams for grades 3, 5, and 8. But during the pandemic, the final exam of these grades was difficult to actually execute. We have been working on what we call anytime testing machine, or an assessment app essentially. And we worked with the National Institute of Open Schooling and iOS to get their authorization to actually conduct these assessments, the final assessments, on the assessment app. So the app was given to parents who, in their homes, turned on the app with their children, and the children appeared in assessments. We had built in some ways to actually ensure the sanctity of the text. So the front camera of the app, while the app was on and the child was giving the assessment, the front camera was clicking pictures at random times to ensure that it is actually the child giving the assessment. We have actually included a lot of features to make it inclusive and accessible and disable friendly. There are options to answer in audio form, answers to option in video form, and a lot of other features to ensure that all kinds of physical disabilities could be taken care of. 800 children appeared for their final exams, and I'm happy to say that they have received their final certificate for grades 3, 5, and 8 as well. And we look forward to take this to many more places going ahead. Uh, Thank you so much for your time. You can visit prathamopenschool.org, where all our content is available. It's open source. And we are now adding our technology resources, including apps like how to collect data in an offline setup, create your own forms and collect data, how to create resources like SMS, how to manage dashboards and look closely and take action-based initiatives on data, is something that we have been doing on this website. Look forward to hearing more from you. Thank you.